This is my review of tip 3. So this week we were focusing on being mindful while we eat. And honestly, this has been my hardest week so far. The water week I breezed through. Last week was a lot easier than I had kind of put in my head. And this week that I thought was, well, what are we really doing? We were chewing our foods more, we were cutting out distractions and really focusing on the experience of eating. I'm like, I'm doing nothing. This is going to be a piece of cake. It is really hard to break the habits you have around food. Really hard. Like, I still messed up. I went out for lunch a couple times. But I've been consciously trying to slow down my chewing. But even when I'm consciously trying, I'm just noticing I'm chewing faster. So I'm not really, savoring it. I'm just kind of going, okay, it's a mush. Next bite. And then I have to kind of stop myself and think again and then try to do it. And then the littlest distraction will take me away from focusing on my food. Honestly, I don't think I was actually prepared for this one because I didn't put too much emphasis on it in my mind. Like, last week I was worried because I'm like, I don't eat a ton of vegetables. This is going to be really difficult. I've been concerned about next week where we're eating straight from the earth, so we're not eating processed foods. I was like, oh my god, what am I going to eat? Everything's been processed. So the third week I was just like, okay, well this will just kind of be my week to kind of, keep amping up my vegetables, prepare myself for the following week, and to kind of keep cutting things out. No. This week actually required a lot of thinking. When we were doing just the vegetables, I could still mindlessly eat. But now I had to think. And thinking's proving to be a challenge for me. So basically I tried to eat meals alone, which again was really difficult. Especially right now, my mom's on vacation for the next 2 weeks, so I've been hanging out a lot with her or hanging out with my friends. I think I've been trying to psychoanalyze myself a lot about why I'm doing things that I do and how I can change it. And I think a lot of my problem is I'm an epileptic, which I've told you guys a billion times. But when I first had epilepsy, like when I first got it, or before the doctors even really knew what I had, I was pretty much housebound for a long time. There was 6 months I barely did anything. I barely got out of bed because I was having constant seizures, or I would just pass out, or I would have the petit mal seizures where I just stare off into space. But it was constant, so I couldn't really do anything because if I did, then I would fall out, injure myself, and I'd have a whole other situation to deal with. But going out for dinner kind of became my escape. And even now, because I'm not a big shopper, I'm not happy with the way I look, so I don't really want to run out to the clothing stores and be like, oh, let's try this on, because a lot of my friends, they're smaller than me. When I used to go shopping with my sister, we would go to all the, cute little stores with her, and she's like, try this on, Kelly. I'm like, oh no, I'm double that size, so I most certainly will not be trying that on. So going out to eat was kind of what I did when I wanted to do something. I don't party, I don't drink, I don't really do anything normal people in their 20s would do, or teens. So eating was my escape. And even now, when I wake up during the day, I'm like, what am I going to do today? I'm like, well, let's see who wants to go out for lunch today, or, ooh, I'll call this person, see if they want to do dinner tonight, or, something like that. Even the way I kind of show my husband appreciation is making his lunches, making dinner, kind of things like that, but I'm still putting a lot of emphasis on the food. So it's really been hard to try to change how I think about my eating experience. So this week is definitely going to have to continue to be a focus for me in other weeks, because I wouldn't say I failed, because I was a lot more conscious of what I was doing. I was a lot more conscious, and I kept a lot of my meals where I was cutting people out. I just was focusing on my meals. I wasn't focusing on everybody else. But by no means would I say this was a raging success. So, I guess it's the way I think about food too. Like, I'm really trying to retrain myself to think, like when I am making meals for my husband, trying to think of better foods for him. I mean, he does drywall, so he works constantly too. He does his regular job, which is a normal 8 or 9 hour day depending on the day. Sometimes longer depending on the job he's at. But then he does a lot of side work. So, like, he helps out his friends and he helps other people. Anyways, he usually ends up working from about like 6 a.m. to like, I don't know, 9. He's gone all day long. So maybe if I kind of thought about what does he need? What kind of foods can I give him that will give him high energy, but sustainable energy? So not just a ton of carbs and sugar that will boost him immediately, but he'll crash a half hour later. What kind of things can I give him to counteract some of the effects he's doing to himself? I mean, he's working constantly, so obviously he's going to be dehydrated. He sweats a lot at his job, especially right now in the heat. And just kind of keep in mind things like that. So, as I did not think of that genius little piece of information until right now, I think I'm going to try to incorporate that into next week as well. So next week is eating less processed foods, which we all should be doing. I know all the benefits and everything of not eating that, but it's so easy and so much faster just to eat something out of a box. So, again, this week's probably going to be a challenge for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed my journey. Thank you. Oh, and when you are going to purchase things from the grocery store, especially if you are looking for non-processed, remember to do the perimeter, not the aisles. The perimeter has your vegetables, it has your meats, it has your, like, cheeses, and your juices, things like that that you can use that aren't in a box. So that's just kind of a little tip to keep in mind. Thank you, and I will see you next week.